So we are live. We are here for the online Formula Racing Division 1 Race 2 in Bahrain. We've got Dr. Robot and Communist Kermit spectating today. How you doing, Mark?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Not bad at all. We're just starting this 18-minute quali session, and while we have a few all the drivers in the pits, Mark, why don't you give us a rundown of last week's race?
Please give me a second to grab the data. The last race results. It was an interesting race, definitely. Last race. Sadly, I wasn't there, but I saw it on stream. But the winner of that race was AJ, and Maximus came P2, and Matt's rounding up the podium. And then Bagpuss finished 4th, Jan 5th, Castle Racing or Enki 6th, Mary 7th, Santi 8th, Leica came, Santi and Leica DNF'd, and Havoc came last with 1 lap down. So it was an interesting race to see. A bad race for Williams, but let's hope they can pick it up this race again.
Yeah, so if we look at the team standings too, we have Red Bull already having a pretty big lead with 33 points. So I think that's Maximus and Mats racing for Red Bull. And then in second place, not too far down the road, so only 7 points behind are the Racing Point guys. So I suppose AJ would have picked up the full 26 points there, and his teammate Santi unfortunately DNF'd. But then we've got Ferrari a bit further down with 18 points, and McLaren also on 18 points. So they are just under, half the amount of points from Red Bull, but it's only race 1. Still a lot of the season to go.
Yeah, it's gonna be tight between McLaren and Ferrari. That's for sure. Something to look out for. So the driver standings, AJ is currently in first position with 26 points because he won the race and had a fastest lap. Maximus came 18 points. Matt's 3rd, Bagpuss 4th, Jan 5th, Castle 6th, Mary 7th, Havoc 8th, Leica 9th, and Santi 10th. So they're actually very close, all of them, because it's only been one race, so it's still, everything could happen.
And everyone who raced last week is also with us today. We do have Alfa Romeo missing. That's the championship leader last season. Izat is not racing this weekend again for the 3rd weekend in a row now, I believe. And also his teammate, one of the new drivers, Droftas, isn't going to be racing this week either. So Alfa are going to have a lot of catching up to do as the season goes on. But right now, I'm just riding on board with Castle because he is on a hot lap and he's just coming up to the very difficult turn 9 and 10 right now. So I'm going to ride on board and just see how he's doing. So he's just come through turn 10, switched his DRS on. He's still on a hot lap. He's got his ERS set to hot lap 2. Looks like he's got his fuel set to max as well. This could be his lap that he's going to get his fastest time on, because maybe he wants to start on the harder tyre. Oh, he's spun. He's come off at turn 12, gone straight through the green barge board. Fortunately, he didn't crash into the wall or anything, but he is off.
I can't see him spin. Are you sure you're not spectating Jan?
I am. I was spectating Jan. I tell a lie.
Oh, we were talking about Castle.
Yeah, apologies for that. So Jan has come off at turn 12, but we do have one of the Williams drivers ahead. I think it's Leica. So I'm just going to quickly jump back up to Leica and see what time he does crossing the line. So he's on the... Oh, he's gone very, very wide. He's coming into the pit, so he's abandoned that lap, and he is in the pit lane. We've got another driver off.
Castle spun.
Ah, there we go. Wow. I wonder if this is a track temperature issue, because it doesn't seem like any of the drivers are switching their tyres on right now. Havoc's about to cross the line, and he sets a 1:30.8 on the hard tyres. That's not a bad time for the hards.
That was very good. Jan setting a 2 flat because he spun, of course. Bagpuss coming in with the 1:30.5 on hards, also not a bad time. Max has retired. I'm not sure why.
So Max has actually come off just before turn 12, I believe. So you can see his car on the outside of turn 12, so he must have come off and hit the wall. But I'm just riding on board with Jan right now because he still has his ERS set to hot lap, so I assume he's going to try and put in a time on these hard tyres.
Yeah, I find it surprising that he doesn't do a lean lap first to build up that ERS, but he's just banging them out right now.
He's got around 50% of his ERS left, and he's only discharged about 2/3 of it, I think. So he might be able to make it to the end with still some DRS left in his tank. Oh, and it looks like he's pulled over again. He's given up on this lap and he's letting Havoc go through. So maybe these hard tyres
to turn down his ERS.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't think these hard tyres are working out for some of the drivers right now. It's a shame that Max went off as well. I think he would definitely have been in the run for pole position here.
Yeah, maybe if they would have gone out later and there had been more track development, Mary goes off, spins into the barriers, or back push, sorry. But maybe with more track development, they would have been able to set faster times and not crash as much as they have right now.
So I think Mats is currently on an outlap, and he might be the driver that's ahead on track. I think he is. So he's just gone through 5, 6, and 7 here. So I'm just going to stick on board with him to see him prepare his car for his hot lap. So one thing that Mats does actually is he turns his ERS down, turns his fuel all the way down too, I think, and just does the lap as if he's doing a qualifying lap. And I think that is how he heats his tyres up to try to get them into the optimal temperature range for a quali lap. Whereas you see some of the other drivers, they just kind of stick to the straights and swerve left and right to heat the tyres up, but Mats just goes for it.
Yeah, it's surprising to see how different people have different strategies, but we actually see that the hards are very dominant this race. Only 2 people choosing for the softs. Or choosing the softs, I mean, sorry.
So Mats is about to start his hot lap now, so I'm going to switch to the onboard cam, which I'm already on, and he's got his DRS wide open, he's just crossed the line, and he is away. So when you're coming up to the first corner, I think you want to brake just after the 100 metre board. Mats eases off and brakes at the 100 board, turns in, locks up his front right slightly, comes out, gets a bit of oversteer through turn 2, had a bit of a correction, and he probably would have lost a 10th there. But his DRS is now wide open as he's coming down to turn 4. Brakes at about 90 metres there, turns in, again a little tiny lock up on the front right, but pulls out of it pretty nice, and he is already back up to full throttle as he goes through 5, 6 and 7 here. Goes a little bit wide and has to brake. I think he's going to abandon this lap because he would have lost about half a second there as he locks up the front right tyre. His ERS is still set to overtake though, so he still might be going for it.
Mats. Mary has gone off, but Mats is just coming into turn 11, that is, braking just after the 100 meter board. It's a very fast corner, turn 11. On the track map it looks kind of slow, but it in reality is very fast. Mats is just set up purple sector 2, and now coming down the long back straight into turn 14 and 15. And let's see what he has done. He is in low fuel mode, or his fuel.
Oh, he's coming into the pits. He's coming into the pits. Now, I think that could have been the incident out of turn 7 where he went wide. I think he lost a bit too much time there. We're quickly going to go up to Castle and see what he crosses the line with on the soft tyres. He's set a 1:28.369.
That is a very decent lap.
Do you think the soft tyre is going to be a wise choice here, though, to start the race on?
I mean, it depends, because I think for a 1-stop, it's not smart, but if you go for the 2-stop, it might just be the better choice of the 3 tires, or the best choice of the 3 tires, as the softs don't degrade that quickly on this track. Tire wear is not that much, so I think a 2-stop would be maybe soft, medium, and then a 1-stop would be hards, medium. Do you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree with those choice of tyres actually, because so if we're looking at a soft medium medium for Castle, or a soft medium, he's still going to be on the back foot for all of those that are doing a hard medium. However, as we know, turn 1 is super tight around here. I think in every race so far, both Division 1 and Division 2 this season, there has been an incident into turn 1. And maybe Castle is kind of playing the game where if he qualifies in pole, and there's going to be a first lap incident that doesn't involve him, he will have to stay out. So as the others come into the pits, he might be able to get away with these soft tyres and then make it a one stop, because he'll be running behind the safety car for at least 2 or 3 laps here. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, because the softs are a lot faster than the hards. Of course, also depending on the driver, as Santi has set a very fast time on the hards as well.
Yeah, 1:29.2. Wow, that's remarkable.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if they can make up the pit stop time on those softs.
Right, sorry to interrupt. Bagpuss is about to start a hot lap right now. Why don't you take us through sectors 1 and 2, and I'll pick it up at the end.
Yep. Coming down the home straight now into turn 1, braking just before the 100-meter board. Very hard braking. Second gear corner into turn 2, and now turn 3. And coming into the very difficult turn 4, where you have to remember not to hit the curbs that can throw off your car and throw it off the line. Coming into turn 5, 6, 7, very tricky set of corners there, and now into, again, a hard braking zone for turn 8. Over to you.
Yeah, he's coming through turn 8, and this is one of the trickiest parts of the track now. So it's downhill left-hander, where all of the weight of the car shifts from the rear because you're going uphill all the way to the front, and it's so easy to lock up there. But Bagpuss seems to have found his braking point and racing line into that corner, because he didn't lock up and he got out of it quite well. Here he comes through turn 11, brakes at about 50 metres, gets a bit of understeer there. You can see him getting pushed wide slightly, but he's back on the throttle as he's coming through turn 12 now. Another place where it's really easy to spin if you hit that inside curb, but he's made it through turn 13 now, staying in 4th gear, full throttle, and away he goes down the back straight.
Purple sector 2 actually, and now coming into turn 14 and 15. Let's see what he does for a time.
Yeah, it's kind of glitching on my screen right now because it says he's still on an outlap, but let's see what his time is. He's put in a 1:29.7 on the medium tyres, so the top 3 are all qualifying on different tyres so far. Wow, this is going to be an interesting strategy race. It looks like we've got Havoc about to come into the pits again, so Havoc has only set a time on the mediums and it's a 1:34. I'm not sure if he's going to want to keep coming out on different tyres, because he's going to be, limiting the tyres that he can use throughout the race in terms of putting on a new set versus an old set of tyres.
Yeah. Of course, we didn't have the practice session in this lobby, so they will all have fresh tyres, which definitely helps. Having to manage tyres through qualifying and practice is very essential in real life, and in some cases in our league too, but not this time.
So right now we've got Jan and Castle on outlaps, and they keep switching positions, so I'm not sure if they're trying to give each other a slipstream or something, but they are playing like tag right now on track. Let's see what happens here. So we've got Jan, Castle, and one of the Force Indias, I think, on an outlap right now. I think Jan is giving his teammate a slipstream.
Definitely. Because Castle is in hot lap mode, but Jan is not. So he must be letting him pass sometime soon, as Castle will be a lot faster, hopefully.
Yeah, he's just given his teammate an amazing amount of slipstream down the main straight. Now, we've not seen that kind of teamwork this season yet, and these guys are the first to do it. So for now, I'll stick on board with Castle, and let's see we'll see what time he can put in after his slipstream. He's just about to finish. He's already set a purple first sector, so that can give you an initial idea of how fast he went in sector 1, getting that slipstream from his teammate. He's just coming up to the super hard 9 and 10 right now. Again, another driver who seems to have mastered that.
Yep, now coming into turn that is 9 and 10, onto the tiny straight into turn 11. The fast right-hander still warming up the tires for Jan. Or are we spectating Castle?
I'm spectating Castle.
Oh yeah, okay. Locks up a little bit into turn 12. Now coming into turn 13, hard braking zone again. Bahrain has some very tight corners. Are now coming into turn 15. That is.
Here he goes, his DRS is open. And did he go faster? Yeah, he set a 1:28.262, so he was 1/10 up.
Yep. That is, again, a very good time.
And now
the
Jan is starting.
Sorry,
Jan is just starting his hot lap now as well, so I'm just going to stick on board with Jan. And why don't you take us through his lap?
Yeah, oh, he spun! That is very unfortunate, as there's only 2 minutes 20 seconds in this session left. So will he be able to put in another lap? Because his last his fastest lap is still very slow. Mary is also on his out lap, and Mats is currently on a hot lap as well, coming down the back straight, putting in a 1:34.40. That is not very fast.
I think that was a out lap for him, and he's actually on his hot lap right now. Yes, he set his ERS back to overtake. Mats has, and he is on a hot lap now. So here he comes up to turn 4. Let's see his braking point. Brakes exactly at the 100 meter. I don't think it's meters. I think it must be 100 yards, because it seems like too short a distance to be 100 meters. But anyway, he's coming through 5, 6, and 7 here. Takes a nice amount of curb on the outside and dives into turn 8. Little bit of a lock up on his front right tyre, but manages to get away with it. He's back up to full throttle, and here he comes through 9 and 10. Let's see if he's found his braking point. So he's one that brakes very early and keeps the car straight and turns in quite early too. But anyway, he's back on the middle straight now. DRS wide open. Let's see his braking point for turn 11. About 75 yards there. Turns in, gets a very nice exit out of turn 11 actually, and it's put him into a good position to kind of boomerang his car around turn 12 here. Now someone has crashed into the green barge board and taken it away. That usually is one of the braking point references, so those who aren't using the racing line here, through the corners anyway, will have to find a new braking point. But he's broke just at about 75 yards there. Back up to full throttle. He's got really low fuel. ERS set to overtake. Let's see what he can do with these hard tyres. He was on a 1:34.0 and he set a 1:29.7 on the hards. Now that is great. Now AJ has just moved up to second place as well, putting in a medium tyre time of a 1:28.2. So who else is out on track on the hot lap? Mary. Okay, I'll jump down to Mary now and see how he's doing, because he hasn't
He's
set
coming
a time
into
yet.
turn 11 now. Just about not getting on the outside curb there, but hitting the inside curb just before turn 12. Coming into turn 13 now. Hard to lock up in that one too, to not lock up, because it's downhill as well, and very slow, hard braking. And coming into the last couple of corners, also very important to not hit the curb there, as it can throw your car off the line. Let's see what he does. DRS open now, and a 1:29.8. Also a very respectable lap.
Yep, and I think the last driver who's out on track right now is Jan, who is on his hot lap. You can see he's used up nearly all of his ERS for this lap. Let's see what he's going to do. I don't think it's going to be below a 1:30. He's put his DRS on, and he set a 1:31. A 1:32, I beg your pardon. That is not a great time from Jan.
No, it's surprising to see that he has messed up this qualification or quali as much. It's unlike Jan.